So Cardano ADA has surged more than 17% to the upside. And in my previous video, I talked about how there were three potential scenarios in play, where one of which was a bullish scenario where ADA could reach anywhere between 70 cents to around 80 cents. And the other two scenarios were slightly bearish, where I was looking for ADA to potentially tap into this region here between 52 to 58 cents. And this region is our X wave target, which is typically a 50 to 88.2% retracement of the W wave. And within the X wave, we had a potential WXY structure forming, and I was looking for the Y wave to reach anywhere between this region here, between 56 to 57 cents. However, the former ended up happening, and it looks like we are now on a bullish trend. And so what I'll do is I'll remove some of this, and I'll also remove, in fact, I'll keep that as it is. And so, yeah, as for the bullish scenario, it looks like a potential WXY structure is forming, like so. And there are two potential setups within this WXY structure where the W wave has topped off at around 66.7 cents. And we ended up having a short X wave because typically the X wave retraces anywhere between 50 to 88.2% of the W wave. And you can see that we ended up falling short of that 50% retracement level, which sits at 58.46 cents. However, the minimum requirement has been met, which is the 0.236 retracement level. And so this wave structure is still valid. And so what we can do now is target out our Y wave, which is typically a 1 to 1.236 retracement of the W wave. So if I bring this to over here, and you can see that ADA has the potential to reach anywhere between 77 to 82.91 cents. Now the minimum requirement is at 0.618. And I don't think we have yet reached that minimum requirement. And so what I'll do is I'll just draw a line here. And yeah, as you can see, we ended up reaching 70.09 cents. Yet the 0.618 retracement level sits at 70.21 cents. And so there is still a little bit more room to the upside, as indicated by Smart Money Concept, which is indicating that we have a weak high. And the likelihood of that being broken is likely. Now, the other structure could be that the W wave ended up topping off at around 64.64 cents. And we ended up having a short X wave, where again, the X wave typically retraces anywhere between 50 to 88.2% of the W wave. And as you can see, we ended up falling short. And once again, the minimum requirement has been met. And it looks like within this X wave, we had a WXY structure form. And so, yeah, this wave structure is still valid. And it looks like we are still potentially within our Y wave, where again, what we can do is target out our Y wave, which would be a 1 to 1.236 retracement of the W wave. So it has the potential to reach anywhere between 74.08 to 78.31 cents. So if I just draw that in, like so. Now, there is a possibility that within this Y wave, we have a complete WXY structure, given that the Y wave typically retraces anywhere between 1 to 1.236. Now, because we ended up having a deep X wave, it looks like we might fall short of our typical requirements for our Y wave. And as you can see, the Y wave would retrace anywhere between 67 to 69, or we'll call it 70 cents, which we have done already. And so there is a possibility that this wave structure is complete. And so I would tread carefully when it comes to trading and trying to short the market when ADA reaches this region here, or if ADA was to reach this region here. Now, the other scenario could be that within this Y wave, we could have a WXY structure forming, where we have a W wave, X wave, and then a Y wave, where we then potentially reach this upper target. And that is a possibility, given that people will be short in the market right now, given that we had a 70% surge to the upside. And so people will be taking profits and buying in at a lower price. But yeah, again, I would tread carefully when it comes to trading, given that there is a possibility that this wave structure is now complete and we see that move to the downside. Now, with that being said, we are still bullish, given that ADA is currently trading above the 50 EMA and the 200 DMA. And very quickly, what I can do is go in the 4-hour chart, and you can see that we are trading above both the 50 EMA and the 200 DMA. Now, on the daily chart, what is interesting is we have the 200 DMA, which is currently sitting at 71.24 cents, And ideally, I'd like to see ADA retest that level. And should that be the case, ideally, I'd like to see ADA find support at that level, and that would then give us an opportunity for us to actually potentially reach this region here. Now, one thing to note is we are overbought on the stochastic RSI, and one thing that we have seen actually is on the hourly chart, at least, whenever we have been overbought, we have seen a continuation to the upside, like over here, for example, where we were overbought for an extended period of time and we ended up seeing a move to the upside. And same goes for over here. We were overbought for an extended period of time and we saw a continuation to the upside. And so it will be interesting to see if we see a repeat of what has taken place already and we see a continuation to the upside where ADA then potentially taps into this region here. However, we could see a retracement to the downside, and should that be the case, ideally I'd like to see ADA find support at the 50 or 200 DMA and then see another bounce to the upside where we then potentially tap into this region here. Now, as for smart money concept, you can see that we have had a breakout structure on the hourly chart and on the 4-hour chart, and on the daily chart, we have had a change of character. And so if I go on the daily chart, we have had a change of character as well, and that confirms that we are on a bullish trend. And so I have mentioned in the past that there is a possibility that we had a double bottom and we are now on the move to the upside. And so again, I wouldn't bank all my money on ADA reaching this region here between 36 to 41 cents. And instead, what I'll be doing is dollar cost averaging. And for me, as long as ADA is below $1 or even 8 cents, then that'll be a good opportunity to be dollar cost averaging and accumulating your ADA. And so, yeah, that's just my quick update on Cardano ADA. Hopefully you found this useful. And if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.